6 years. It's just time for a reboot. They're too Dame Lillard dominated. Dame and C.J. McCollum are the backcourt. They're very similar players. Neither plays defense. And they got to both offer the same thing. And they need a big trade. And Dame's not going to leave. He's a loyal guy. So go get him a 2. Portland's been trying to kind of fake it. And Rodney Hood, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Old Mello, kind of faking it. Got him a 2. Got him a... No. Dame's a 1, and there's nothing resembling a 2 on that team. C.J. McCollum should be a 4, a good player, but a 4 in a championship team. So, and what's happening now, because there's so much talent out west, the Mavs look like they've passed Portland. And Memphis, oh boy, here comes Memphis. Are they close to passing Portland? And the Suns this year passed Portland. Utah's now past Portland. The Nuggets, if they win this, they have passed Portland. So forget the Lakers. You got all these young teams. I mean, Memphis now is like, ooh. And even teams like that didn't make the playoffs, like Golden State, well, Klay Thompson comes back next year. So it's time to blow it up. This roster peaked a couple years ago when they got to the Western Conference Finals and faced Golden State. And they were swept by Golden State that didn't have Kevin Durant. And that was kind of like the tell. Like, we got to go big and get another guy. Now, the solution to me is Paul George and the Clippers get swept and humiliated. Steve Ballmer goes kabloom, blows it up, and Paul George becomes a 2, and maybe C.J. McCullough is a good player that you're getting that with Dame, just a better version with Dame. But it's the same. We got the same story here year after year after year. It's time for a reboot in Portland. It is too Dame dependent, and they either win shootouts or lose shootouts. They can't make a stop when they need to, and that's kind of been the story for the last 5-6 years. Joy with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Ooh, Clippers.
Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
They've lost home court advantage to the Mavs and are down 2-0 as the series moves to Dallas. They've yet to live up to the hype of their high expectations surrounding the team last year and in this year in the postseason. But Ty Lue believes that they will show who they truly are in Game 3.
When you're down 2-0, when you come into another team's arena, it shows what you're made of. Our toughness and, like all here, just trust, sticking together. And then this is going to show us tomorrow, who we are and what we're made of. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, generally, when you have the first 2 games at home, you want to win those. And then the test is going on the road. Well, you lost your 2 games at home, and now you're going to the Mavs home. So that's actually opposite of how these things are usually supposed to go.
Right.
If they go down 3-0, they're losing the series. As we talked about earlier with the Heat, no team has ever come back down from 3-0. Now, I don't anticipate the Clippers doing that.
No.
So you have to win or this is over. Like, you have to win. That's it. This is the game for the series. This is the entire season. This is not even the season. Like, this is the franchise right here as it is currently constructed.
If the Mavs won convincingly, I mean,
tonight or when they play,
yeah. I mean, it's going to be a different franchise in 4 months. Like, they're just going to make moves. They have to.
You just need a leader. Like, we all thought that the talent could overcome the lack of that specific intangible. And in some cases, I suppose it can, but I don't know. I don't really know that I can look to an example of that because Kawhi is proven in the postseason. Like, you can talk about how things have gone with the Clippers, but Kawhi is a champion.
Right.
Kawhi is an MVP. Like, he's proven that he Finals MVP. He's capable of that. So we know to me, Kawhi is not the question here. I know what Kawhi can do when he's in the right situation and he's in the right culture and he has pieces around him. Paul George is really the question. I also know what Ty Lue can do. Yeah. So it's not to put this on Paul George, but you have to have the right formula. Like, you can have a lot of talent, but it's all got to line up. I mean, we talk about, LeBron with the Heat. They had all the talent in the world, but they hadn't put it together the first year.
Right.
You've seen it with lots of LeBron teams in the first year that he's there. It takes a little time to get things going, but you can't be this far into this experiment and it not work. So there's a lot of pressure on the Clippers. For a very interesting postseason where everyone is kind of coming in with a flaw, and there's just the most parity we've ever probably seen in an NBA postseason, at least for a long time. Very quickly, the Clippers have a lot of pressure on them. Yeah. So you're going to have to get that win tonight. All right, Mac Jones seems to be making a good impression on his new team at OTAs this week. Receiver Kendrick Bourne said Jones has a swag to him.
Swag. Drew Lock had a swag. Swag's big.
Swag is
Swaggy.
huge. Swaggy.
Swaggy.
He said you can feel his energy and his leadership already.
Swag.
Tight end Hunter Henry added that he thinks the rookie's doing a good job.
By the way, he wears number 50. Is that swag? That ain't swag.
It's swag.
That ain't. Listen, I don't know swag. That ain't swag. Wearing number 50 throwing a football. That's like that. That's like that pitcher in the spring training that wears like 78 and ends up at AA Birmingham or something.
Belichick said Jones dove right into the playbook and is continuing to learn.
Well, that's like being a good parent. That's the minimum. He dove into the playbook. What was he going to do? He used it like a pamphlet. He just threw it in the garbage.
There's a lot of cliches being thrown out.
Oh, he dove right into the playbook.
Earlier, Patriots insider Tom Curran tweeted after watching Mac Jones at OTA. So he's getting kind of glowing reviews from inside the team.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne loved him.
Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry.
Number 4 receiver loved him.
Well, Tom said, just finished watching our first OTA of 2021, the Patriots. One thing that stands out about Mac Jones to me is his size and lack thereof, not just compared to Cam Newton, shorter than Stidham as well. Really will need to fill out his frame. Accuracy on uncontested throws, which is what we're seizing today.
Yeah.
Is as advertised. Arm isn't really live. These are just observations relative to how far he may need to go. Fortunately, except for the heights, the other things he can improve. So not a glowing review from Tom.
Who I trust, because Tom Curran's been accurate for over a decade with the team.
Look, I don't. It sounds like we're poking fun and we're not like rooting against him. I'm really not. I want everyone to succeed. We just have to give our observations, and I just didn't think he was. I didn't think he was a number 3 overall pick.
I will give New England credit though, and they do deserve credit. They did not trade up. They waited and he dropped. So I don't have a problem with that pick because they do need a quarterback, and they didn't give up capital.
I thought it was a great pick for them.
Yeah, but this is where I push back. Trade multiple first-rounders to draft Mac Jones at 3? You're out of your mind.
There's really no pressure on Mac Jones right now.
No.
And that's a conversation that we have about first-round picks all the time. Where are you taking? What was given up for you? Because those expectations shift the public and media's opinion of you.
That's right.
And quite frankly, the teams as well. When you walk into a locker room or the front office is like, all right, we did all this to get you. What do you have? And expectations are sometimes unfair.
Yeah, Jordan Love, they moved up to get him in the first round. If Jordan Love falls to the middle of the second, we're like, well, yeah, he's a middle second guy. That's okay.
Yeah. You got time.
By the way,
3 years. Who cares?
There was never a ton of pressure on Andy Dalton. He went to TCU. He stayed there forever. He wasn't a hot prospect. He went in the second round. So there was never this, well, he's Big Ben, or he was a second-round pick. So, like that's the Jordan Love, the Packers changed the temperature in the room. We're going to give up picks to move up to get you. Okay, now that's why it was San Francisco. Mac Jones at 15, 5th quarterback taken. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
For a team that needed a quarterback. That 3 spot for Mac Jones, that's what we ripped. We didn't rip. We said, that is absurd.
It would have been absurd. And it's not just because maybe Mac Jones won't be good enough. Maybe he will be good enough to have been a number 3 overall pick. But expectations change timelines. Yep. They change expectations within the fan base, the patience.
Yep.
And the pressure can get to you as a young player. Like, you have to get out there. You have to prove yourself instead of just taking the time to learn. So it matters. Whether it's realistic or fair or not, nothing is fair. That's how this works.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady is back at the Bucs facility training for next season. But it is not in the typical OTA format because he doesn't like it. Bruce Arians offered Brady the chance to hold throwing sessions at the team complex without any coaches' presence, and the players would be able to come and go as they please. They would also have access to everything from the practice field to the locker room and weight room. So he and about 10 other teammates took him up on the offer this morning. And Arians said he was concerned that if an injury occurred to a player while working out away from the facility, their contract wouldn't be guaranteed. So when you're doing, those kind of workouts and you're not at OTAs and things can happen. So that's what his concern was. I love this about Arians. He is not afraid to just make the players happy. It's not about, everyone always freaks out about extremes, right? Like these players, the young player that went from high school to the G League. The floodgates, no one's going to get an education anymore. Like, just simmer down, okay? Bruce Arians does things a little outside the box, just a little outside the box.
Yeah.
It's okay. He's still going to have training camp.
I remember, Joy, when I worked in Tampa, the Buccaneers, Sam Weish was let go and they were looking for a coach. So they interviewed Tony Dungy. And Tony's one of the nicest guys you ever meet. But Tony, back in Tony's day, every coach was like Cowherd and Parcells and throwing stuff. And so they interviewed Dungy. And Rich McKay told me privately, it's like, we need to interview him again. So they interview him a second time. And they're like, yeah, we know he's the right coach. We see his resume. We know how smart he is. But he's really quiet. And he doesn't do it like everybody. And then they brought him in for a third time and decided Tony's the guy. My point being is that Tony, who's a Hall of Fame coach, Tony was different. He was not in his generation. He was more mentor and teacher. And Bruce Arians is different. He is not a grinder like his belief is you can let players be themselves.
They're professionals.
They're professionals. And by the way, I'm not going to overcoach, but and by the way, there are times Arians drives me nuts. He's got a little Mike Tomlin where sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure the details are all great, but with Brady